Our live coverage here at the Bend Motorsport Park continues on 7+ with one half of the winning combination from that production car race. Wayne Russell, a bit played out there, didn't it?
Well, there's plenty of action on the track, that's for sure. I was sort of hanging back a little bit, watching the three in front of me having a red-hot go at each other, and Carlberg, yeah, I'll get the words out, and Smolin came together. It was a pretty big coming together, so both the boys are okay when checked on that. But, yeah, it was a good race.
Rock solid drive from Drew as well. When we saw that issue for that right front for the Sharon car, was there a moment of double check from you, like, right, let's keep this car off the curbs and things like that?
We're definitely doing that at the moment because we've been a little bit worried about tyre wear, and the left front's mainly the one, so I'm a bit surprised their right front let go. But the left front's the main tyre wear around here, but our tyres are coming in pretty good.
Must feel pretty sweet to win one in this class of racing, given how competitive it is.
It's a great class. Honestly, this is a fantastic class, and for me and the two boys to race, it's awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. It's all about family. Congratulations to you. Well done.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
There he is. All right, well, we are gearing up now for the Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS, those magic cars, the Mercedes AMGs, the Audis and more. We have the Lamborghini rejoining the series as well at this round of the championship, which is tremendous. They are, as you can probably hear them, firing up in the background here, about to take to the circuit. There are some AM drivers in this as well, and second generation names as well. So David Brabham, who raced in Formula One, whose father was a triple world champion and one of the greats of all time in Formula One. His grandson, Sam, is a part of the action in this field. So very shortly we will take you to one of our commentators. I'm going to be joining Richard Craill in the commentary box shortly. I might bring in Cameron Vanendungen here, who's been up in the box, and we're going to do a baton change here, aren't we? You'll take over in the lane, which is going to be fun. I enjoy this series for all sorts of different reasons. We've got diametrically different weather today compared to what they last experienced at Sandown.
Yeah, they do, and we heard for a few of them earlier today. I think they're still scarred from what happened at Sandown with the amount of rain that fell and the conditions they were battling. I'm really intrigued to see how this hour-long race is going to unfold. You've got 888 Race Engineering with their cars there. Brock Feeney did so well in qualifying. But then there's some teams that have got so much experience as part of this category. Combinations of drivers, very fast young drivers, as well as some gentleman racers as well. For those of you tuned in on 7+, this should be a cracker.
So the balance of performance, if you will, or the rules in relation to GT competition are reviewed after each round of the series. So Garth Tander, the engineer on that car as well, Eric Pender, who's been a Bathurst winner back in the Kmart racing days, reflected to me before, they do, because of success at Sandown, have a slightly longer pit stop coming up here.
Yeah, so there's various different balance of performance in terms of weights and other limitations. That's set internationally. So GT racing around the world under SROs by the FIA. I know a lot of acronyms, but they all work it out. Ben Schutz, who we spoke to on the way coming into the track, he's well regarded as a sports car racer himself. Well, he's managing the balance of performance. Mercedes has been the dominant car in GT racing. You and I saw it recently over in Singapore in some racing. They've got 10 kilos extra weight as well on those cars. There's some other more technical adjustments as well, but, you know, there's our own local content. We've got very fast drivers and not as fast drivers, because they're all fast out there in the GT category. But we'll see them start to roll right behind us now, Rusty, and I'm about to get busy.
We certainly are. So the Johor Racing 888 race cars both go past us. We should say that Brock Feeney has been doing a super job with this team, to the point where even Audi thought in qualifying form he'd taken a leap or grown another leg. So watch for Brock Feeney in this one as well. And from a family perspective, the royal family, we've seen Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim doing great things in this championship and with his racing in Asia for that matter. His younger brother will be a part of the racing. He joins the series here at the Bend Motorsport Park, and he goes about his racing in a very different way to Prince Jeffrey. Prince Jeffrey seems very methodical in the way that he attacks things. Prince Abu Ibrahim, let me tell you, he is a seat-of-the-pants racer who doesn't mind going for it. We're loving having him a part of it too.
Well, you want to talk about methodical racers. We've got Jamie Whincup in this field as well. I mean, the guy is one of the greatest of all time when it comes to touring car racing, particularly in Australia. He's in the mix. You mentioned Garth Tander. We talked about the up-and-comer in Brock Feeney. Wonderful drivers, all of them. And even Liam Talbot, who's been such a big part of sports car racing, GT racing in Australia. Great to see him, always with a smile on his face.
Exactly, and add Fraser Ross to that mix as well. All right, we are set to go racing. They've headed out onto the circuit, so we'll head to one of our commentators. I'm about to do the world's quickest run down the lane here at the Bend and join him. Here is Richard Craill.
Get sprinting, Rusty. You've got 5 minutes before the green flag drops in this one. Hello everybody, good afternoon. Welcome to what is a stunning day here at the Bend. A little overcast but quite warm outside. Gentle breeze blowing across the circuit. It's a tailwind up the start-finish straight, and we're looking forward to a great race for the Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. It's the penultimate sprint round of the year. There's an enduro coming at Mount Panorama soon to cap off the season. It's going to be fantastic stuff. And this race should be a pitched battle between Mercedes, AMG and Audi. It's been the story of the year. And 888 Race Engineering will start this one from the front row of the grid, thanks to a great lap by Brock Feeney, with Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim going from pole position. Yasser Shahin alongside him. He shares with Garth Tander, 888 driver in the Supercar Enduros, arch rival now driving for the different brand and the Audi Sport Customer Racing Australia team. Behind them, Liam Talbot shares with Fraser Ross. Abu Ibrahim, the second Prince, joins the field. 888 going to 2 cars. He will share car number 88 with Jamie Whincup. Not a bad co-driver to roll in with, the 7-time touring car champion. And then we go back to Matt Stupas, who drives car 23, the KFC Audi, and Ross Polakis for Harold's Racing. Ross has been driving brilliantly this weekend, right in form, and very, very quick in the GT3 AM competition. Kikinos just behind them in 7th place. Perez in 8th. He'll share with his good mates Marcel Zalua. And then back to Sheargold and Garth Walden in car 45. Adrian Dietz has got Tony D'Alberto alongside him in the return of the Lamborghini Huracan GT3. And we go back to Mark Griffith in car number 12. And then the Gary Higgin Audi, and off the back, Christos Batsios in the second Harold's Racing car, the GT4 battle. He'll share that with Sam Brabham, son of David. The cars form up on the grid. See Garth just ambling down to have a chat to his co-driver Yasser Shahin, who's been driving very, very well. They lead the championship. Well, Yasser does. Garth missed the opening round of the championship at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. So from his point of view, this is all down to Yasser now from a series lead point of view. He's got 20 points to the good over Liam Talbot. Jeffrey Ibrahim and Shane Van Gisbergen with 105 points, but SVG not here this weekend. He gets a well-deserved weekend off, the busiest man in the sport at the moment, with Rally Championship and then Bathurst success, and then Garth Tander 4th. Tony Bates and David Reynolds missing this round. They'll be back later in the season. They're 5th with Fraser Ross 6th, and it's a great battle. But Audi versus Mercedes AMG, they make up the first 4 rows of the grid, one on either side. And throughout GT racing this year, it's been the story of the season. And even at the Bathurst 12 hour, the pitched battle between those 2 brands, with Mercedes AMG coming out on top. This has been a circuit that suited the big V8 front engine to GT3. Can 888 with Johor Racing continue that on today, or will the factory Audi team
talking a bit of shit,
fight back and get even more positions and more championship points? There's the Ben Motorsport Park car. Nothing between Yasser Shahin and Garth Tander and Jeffrey Ibrahim and Brock Feeney, but a brilliant lap late in qualifying for Feeney, who's driving really, really well at the moment. He's in good touch, coming off the back of a really solid run in the great race. And he's had some time in this car. He did the Bathurst 12 hour with this team and had a couple of really good anchoring stints throughout the course of Australia's International Enduro earlier this year. The grid's set. The safety car about to lead them away and taking some deep breaths after the sprint. It's a long pit lane, Greg Rust, here at the Bend Motorsport Park. There's a lot of garages, but it's flat.
I've let my fitness go, Richard. It was never a great thing to begin with. So you rightly pointed out, I think, in the lead up here that the co-drivers starting this one, so we'll get the pros with the fast run to the finish. Beautiful Shannon's Insurance livery on that car now for Fraser Ross and Liam Talbot. There's the front row of the grid for you. 888 versus the powerhouse that have run Audi so successfully in a customer racing sense in this country, be it for TCR or GT competition for some time now. So Melbourne Performance or Audi Sport Customer Racing. Yasser Shahin at the wheel of that Audi. This is a proud event for the Shahin family. We've detailed that for you, and I was very fortunate to see him race at on the streets of Singapore supporting the Grand Prix just a few weeks ago, and let me tell you, he really impressed some people up there. A, because it was his first time there, and B, because we had changeable conditions throughout some of the sessions and the racing, and he adapted very, very well to what is by and large, unforgettable racetrack. So he just seems to be in great form at the moment, I think, Yasser Shahin. He's always had that raw speed, that fearlessness about him, that very kind of competitive nature, but as a racer, and clearly with the support of someone like Garth Tander in his corner, the little bit of extra finesse has come. He's grown as a racer, I believe that, Richard. So Yasser and Jeffrey Ibrahim will go toe-to-toe here. Liam Talbot, Abu Ibrahim, wonderful to have him as a part of this championship. There's one of the Harold's entries. We had a word with Chris Papadopoulos before, who's just going through with the team, just as we said in the interview, just little things about pulling the car up, hitting it on the marks, making sure that we take a bit of the panic or the stress out of the stop as much as possible.
That GT4 battle, sure, there's only 2 cars, but there has never been more than 3 tenths between both of them
Crazy.
in every session so far this weekend. So it's a really good fight between the 2 AMG GT4s. Hey, I want to ask you a question, because you have been calling this sport for as long as Garth... No, I was going to say that, not long enough. For as long as Garth Tander's been in it.
Yep.
He is driving as well today as he ever has in his career. I am convinced of that. What he did at Bathurst was remarkable, and he has performed so well in these cars this year.
It's really trading on what was a mega week at the mountain. I think, having all those testing miles before he got to Bathurst, then the car was good the moment they rolled it out of the truck. I think he's talked about that Rebel Commodore being the best race car he's ever had at the mountain, just in terms of the way that it felt, the confidence that it gave him. So, he is far from retirement material or veteran in my eyes. I still see him as having a huge amount to offer. And as a combination, I mean, you could argue with Jamie Whincup taking on a different role within the Triple Eight organisation, would it have been likely that they have considered pairing Jamie Whincup and Shane Van Gisbergen together? But you'd argue that as a combo, he and Shane, for all sorts of reasons, are just so strong together, and that was demonstrated just a few weeks ago. So 100% with you that he is in great shape in that sense. So a lot of considerations in this race. I think another one too is that we should welcome, he talks like his dad, Nash Morris, who said, oh yeah, Griffo called me during the week, said, do you want to come to the bend? I said, sure, I've never driven one of these cars before. He's a big bright smile, he's loving it. So we'll see Nash Morris at the wheel a little bit later too.
Well said. I'm looking forward to this. The pitched battle between Audi and Mercedes AMG this year has been great, from the 12-hour through all of the rounds this year in GT World Challenge, and it's just been punch and counter-punch, and then another brand comes back, and like Mercedes AMG and Audi in GT3 racing, it's like Ford versus Holden in supercars, really, isn't it? They're the 2 big brands fighting out for it.
And in the same way that Melbourne Performance runs so many cars successfully, Triple Eight are building, and their experience with those AMG machines is strong nowadays. So the field bunches up. We get set for a rolling start here at the Bend. What a way to complete our coverage live here on 7+, and it's only the beginning, because we're back on air tomorrow with lots more from the Bend Auto Fest, but this is going to be a nice way to round things out today. An hour of action in the Fanatec GT World Challenge, powered by AWS. The Harold's pole check earlier today, presented to Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim and Brock Feeney. We are underway here at the Bend. Lights ablaze. Yasser Shahin will wrestle the lead.
Great jump from the Audi, but the Merc goes down the inside. Big dive, that is from Ibrahim. Did it come off the other side? It didn't. Shahin is spun around. He got the better jump. Ibrahim dived down the inside, and the Audi came out the other side pointing the wrong way. Contact between the 2 title contenders.
How will Motorsport Australia race control? And we need to be fair, so we don't have full angle here on that replay. You get a sense of what's about to unfold, don't you, as they go into the corner for sure. And I think you said earlier in one of the Porsche races it was about just be brave enough, just send it, and that's clearly what happened there.
Yeah,
wow.
That was a really big dive, and the AMG was moving around under brakes, and it got down the inside there to that inside curb at turn 1, but the Audi was well committed to turning into that corner. That's going to be a tough one from race control to look at, especially without a clear picture of what the leaders were doing.
Any battle scars? Can you see anything?
Looks okay from here, doesn't it? But these Mercs, they're tanks. They are really solidly built GT3 cars. Regardless, Jeffrey Ibrahim leads the field up the hill to turn 12 for the first time. Talbot up to second. Abu Ibrahim to third. So Mercedes AMG from 888 and Johor Motor Racing first and third. Matt Stupas to fourth. Kikinos up to fifth place, and Sergio Perez to sixth in the GT3 AM battle. But that will be a big talking point. Turn 1. And then is there any damage to the number 1 Audi of Yasser Shahin and Garth Tander?
Like it, Cam Vandertungen in the lane there to go and chase both sides of that story and just see what people are saying in the lane. It's Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim leading the way from Liam Talbot, who's looking racy here in the Shannon's Insurance Audi. Just shows the nose, but he's maybe half a car length behind him, but Lights Ablaze got that intimidator thing happening already. And Abu Ibrahim in third place. Nice start, nice debut here at the Bend.
This is opportunity, Cam.
I was just quickly, Garth Tander, the team up in the commentary box are asking questions about how you might see that incident.
Doesn't matter how I see it, it's how race control sees it. So, second race in a row, we've had to get out of the way of the 888 car, getting out of control at turn 1. That's what happens.
Oh, come on. We're not at Bathurst anymore. You can share a bit more. We're on 7+ right now.
It's not up to me, mate. It's not up to me. So now the battle is just get back, get some points. Yasser's in the championship here, so we'll fight back, and we'll fight back hard. But that makes it.
Thanks, Garth.
How's that massive, I mean, he's always a team player when it comes to 888 there, but proper racer as well.
Yes, isn't it? It's funny how the hat changes from a week ago, though, isn't it? On the podium celebrating, and now having a little bit of a jab. I like it. Good. Shows how serious this is, though. This is the top GT championship in the region, so there's a bit on the line. The point I was about to make before we went to the lane, this is a massive opportunity for Liam Talbot and Fraser Ross. They will have a shorter compulsory pit stop time than Ibrahim and Feeney, and they will have a shorter compulsory pit stop time than Yasser Shahin and Garth Tander. This is a huge opportunity for those guys to get some track position in this race and make the others chase them late in the game. So for the newly liveried Shannon's Insurance Audi R8, this is a huge opportunity to strike and get a big haul of championship points. We talked about the fact that Liam is very much in championship calculations in this year's GT World Challenge. Let's see what he can do in his pursuit of Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim. Change of position behind.
Matt Stupas. Yeah, lights on and has executed the move and is ahead of Abu Ibrahim there now in third place. And he's had moments where Matt's reminded us of the kind of pace he's got throughout the season, but hasn't always converted. Sometimes there's been an incident or something along those lines. So third is a very, very solid performance from the 23 to start this race. Yasser Shahin back in sixth place at the moment. Last time by, he lapped in at 1 minute 52.52, and that is about a second off the kind of numbers we're seeing from Liam Talbot at the moment, who's popping up some purple sectors. So he's the fastest driver, as Richard talked about before, on track at the moment. So just wondering whether Yasser is having to nurse that car. He's picked up another spot now into fifth place. Look at this here. Talbot, aggressive, racy. Ibrahim's been tested throughout this year, hasn't he? That extreme, wet, difficult conditions. There's Brock Feeney to his left. Roland Dane, you're inside the 888 race garage there. Johor Racing.
There'll be some tension there. This is a really big opportunity for this team as well from a championship point of view to get a big haul of points. But as one Audi ends up further down the field, another one ends up further up. So there's always something with four rings on it ready to challenge you in GT racing. The R8, one of the most successful individual models in GT racing history. Let's go back down to Cam.
Whilst he didn't give us much, he said he's a little bit frustrated, second race in a row with 888 involved. How did you see that?
Yeah, we got done off the start, and Jeffrey obviously went down the inside of turn 1 we've only seen what everyone else has seen. So yeah, he went up the inside and we sort of missed the rest of it. So I'm sure they'll look into it and they'll come to a conclusion. But yeah, my job to jump in the car and drive as fast as I can for the rest of the race.
So you've straight batted that beautifully for me. The big question I now have for you, Garth Tander goes from teammate to now arch rival. Any message for Garth I can relay?
No, we'll sort it out on the track with him. Should be good.
I like the sounds of that. 7+. Thank you very much, Brock.
Cheers.
He's a great fella, and he's showing more and more character with every race meeting. It's a massive undertaking for him this year, stepping into a legend in Jamie Whincup shoes in a plum drive in the Supercars Championship. And while there's been some learnings, I think we've even seen here a top 10 result at Mount Panorama, and he's grown a leg in this car. He's driven superbly so far this weekend. Well done.
Full credit to our mate Cameron. He's trying hard, but it's a bit like a bit of a lifeless Day 5 test match.
Exactly.
He's trying to bowl down screamers and get something to happen, but he is getting absolutely nothing back in return.
Donuts.
Oh, they're all politicians down there at the moment. Yasser Shahin back up to 4th. 11 seconds the margin to the race lead, but only 1.2 seconds to Prince Abu Ibrahim, who's running in 3rd position at the moment.
Now, Yasser Shahin has answered my question. I wondered about whether that car 1 was battling some damage. It clearly isn't, because he's gone fastest in the first sector, personal best in the middle, and the fastest lap of the race so far belongs to Yasser Shahin with a 1 minute 50.758. He's now up into 4th place. That's an impressive recovery so far. The margin, get a sense of the gap to we're going to Prince Abu Ibrahim. It's actually, I think, under a second, so he may be challenging for 3rd very shortly. Let's look behind there. There's a waiter for you, if you will. He is closing on Abu Ibrahim.
At this pace, he'll be there halfway through this lap. Fastest lap of the race last time round. But then the top 8 cars all just set personal best laps of the race. So as they build in on this Pirelli tyre, which does like a build-up in terms of tyre temperature and pressure, as we see Liam Talbot continuing to apply the pressure for the race lead. This Pirelli is a tyre that loves a gradual build-up. We saw it in qualifying at Bathurst earlier this year, Rusty, where it was freezing cold, yes, but it was lap 7, lap 8 that you were punching out the lap time. So this tyre continues to get better as the run goes on, and that's what we're seeing now with these very, very fast lap times, and also the intensity in the race at the front. They're pushing so hard at the lead in the low 1 minute 50s. So this is the leading battle, and then we wait to see the 2 behind and see how that fight for 3rd is going on.
I reckon it's game on there, because there's less than half a second, and again Yasser Shahin's gone purple in the first sector, and when we say that colour definition indicates the fastest through that sector. So we've divided, the track is divided into thirds, if you will. Quickest time we've seen so far in this race belongs to that Audi there on screen, the bend-backed Audi. He's gone personal best, Yasser Shahin, in the middle part of the lap. We'll see, it's about hovering at about half a second here. So Abu Ibrahim's doing a nice job here to keep a pretty feisty, a pretty fired up Yasser Shahin behind him in a car that's quick.
Now, I just need to correct something I said earlier about pit stop times as we watch this fight for 3rd position going on. So Prince Jeffrey and Brock Feeney have 102 seconds. That's their mandatory pit stop time. The Fraser Ross Liam Talbot car is 107 seconds. So they're actually 5 seconds longer, and that's based on their prior success. So Liam Talbot needs to get past car 888. He needs to get some track position. This is the fight for 3rd. Speaking of track position, car number 1 needs to work his way past. They've got 112 seconds in pit lane, which is a lot longer than the car they're currently chasing. So Yasser needs to make some moves. He's got the pace to do it, but car 88 making his life very difficult.
He's almost into the 1 minute 49s too, Richard. The quickest lap of the race now is a 1 minute 50.0083. Liam Talbot, we believe, let's have a look here, starting to show some good sectors from Liam Talbot as well. So that car is fast.
Yeah, and the intensity just keeps ratcheting up, doesn't it, as the lap times continue to drop. This is the leading battle, so car 888 continues to lead this race. Mercedes AMG versus Audi. Great new livery on that car. Great to see Shannon's continuing their remarkable support of Australian motorsport and Australian motoring in general. Yeah. They're a great brand, and they invest so heavily in the sport. They've sponsored this program, Rusty, the Shannon's Motorsport Australia Championships, which was the Shannon's Nationals since 2007. Incredible, unbroken support for that amount of time.
Focus once again on this battle up in front, 0.37 of a second last time by between them. So they like a couple of boxes trading blows, don't they? There's both looking strong, both in different corners.
The other interesting little tidbit we're thinking about, and I heard Cameron talking about it earlier today, is the balance of performance, which manages these cars' performance. Oh, there's almost a move at turn one. Talbot had a look and it forced Ibrahim a little bit wide at the apex there, but he was able to recover nicely. Good driving. The Mercs have copped 10 kilos extra in the balance of performance, which equalises the performance between the various makes and models in GT3 racing. Now, 10 kilos might not sound like much, but in racing, when every kilo counts, unlike commentary, it's very, very important. So that will have an effect on the car in terms of tyre life, a little bit of extra weight, a little bit of extra tyre wear as the race goes on. I wonder if that will change the car. It won't be fundamental. It might be 0.5% over a race distance, but when the competition's this close, every little point counts.
Wasn't the rumour that back in that period where he's run a little bit wide, that's all it took. That's all it took. A little awkward as they came past the lap car, and there's a bit of contact there. Talbot's gone off. He rejoins.
Oh, I don't know about that. That was really difficult negotiating the Harold's Racing GT4 car of Chris Batsios, and Talbot was in front, and then there was a little bit of contact between the two and he dropped the car off the road. They're continuing to battle on, and he goes around the outside and tries the over-under through this really difficult complex of corners down the hill now.
Had a decent launch over the curbing too, didn't it? So I hope the underside of that Shannon's Insurance Audi is okay. Game on, or it continues for Liam Talbot. But it just, as it went past the GT4 car, it got awkward, and then this sort of ensued. But there was a touch, wasn't there?
Yeah, before that point in the replay. So we sort of need to see it a little bit earlier than that. And they're continuing on out in front. I think they were side by side into the final corner.
Talbot might have it, he does. The timing popped up for a moment to suggest that Liam Talbot had done it. They drag race down the main straight here at the bend. Who's going to blink? Bravest of the breakers into turn one. Prince Jeffrey plays it maybe a little on the safer side, and Talbot takes the lead.
And Fraser Ross applauds. He's got Garth Tander watching on alongside Troy Russell just in front, the team boss down at Audi. He'll like that. So it took a couple of corners longer than it needed to, but Liam Talbot now in front and needs to put his head down and build as much of a margin as he can before the compulsory pit stops. Gee, what a sequence of events that was. So it started out when they got to Chris Batsios in the Harold's Racing GT4 car. Jeffrey Ibrahim hesitated. That was the opening that Liam Talbot needed, and then he was able to sneak by, but then there was contact as they changed direction down at turn 9 and turn 10.
Very safe to Talbot, wasn't it? So, and he launched over a curve, as you rightly say. Richard just giving us the diagnosis there. But in the meantime, let's go to the lane. Here's Cam.
Yeah, I thought I'd grab Fraser Ross. I was just watching you, the highs, lows, highs again. What's with this garage in the Triple Eight?
I don't know, this race got it all. That Triple Eight car obviously wants to hit both of us, but Liam did a good job avoiding what could have been pretty nasty. He's obviously got some clear space now. He's put his head down and extend the lead and hand over the car to me, and hopefully I can do the same.
I was about to say, you're a very good combination. We've got some pro-rated drivers. You're a very good driver. Liam's also one of the better drivers out there as well within the current field. You must be liking your chances today.
Yeah, it's good. Obviously the car we're worried about is the Win Cup car. There's no success penalty there, but we're just doing a good job. The car won behind us. That helps us for the championship. So Liam's doing a great job. The Shannon's car looks fantastic. It's going well. So fingers crossed.
Thanks, Fraser.
Cheers. Thanks.
Doesn't seem to be slowing, despite that up and over the curb, and it would have been a fair old save too, I reckon, Richard. It sort of awkwardly skewed right, didn't it? Absolutely caught Liam Talbot's attention.
Well, at the bottom of the hill there, Rusty, it's top of fourth gear. They're doing almost 200 k's an hour through that sequence of fast right-hand corners, and it was the change of direction into 10, which is the left, and that was what caused the little contact there once the Shannon's car was in front. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they police that from a race control point of view.
But he's going quick.
He is, yeah, 49.4. So now he's got clear air. He's got that margin out to 2.8 seconds. So even though Talbot got through, it took another half a lap to do it. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's hard to make a judgment call on that with just that one angle and seeing it live. But yeah, that contact with the road closing in, it was very, very difficult to see. I'm trying to see the fence here, Rusty. That's essentially where I'm at. But it was difficult to see where the
splinters, and we always have that, haven't we?
Where the contact was as the road, as the road turned left, and they were sort of two cars into one spot, didn't go. And it was a really good save, as you alluded to, with Liam going off the road a quite high rate of knots and managed to hold on to it.
So our position here in the commentary box at the bend is right next door to race control. If you dare sneak a look in there and see how it's going.
Actually. Oh, my cable's not
bit
long
going on. Talbot with a new fastest lap, a 1:49.46. He's almost about to complete another one, and he has been purple in sector 1, purple in sector 2. This is going to be a new fastest lap of the race so far, and in fact it's a 48.82 from Liam Talbot. He is flying.
Plays a 51.1 for car 888. So 2.5 seconds the difference between the two of them that time around. 4.4 seconds the leading margin. And why is that important? Well, track position's critical, but there's pit stop time as well that is vital. And there's a difference in time that they will spend in pit lane, and it's 5 seconds the difference between Talbot and Ibrahim. So what they're doing now is racing for the end of the race once you complete your pit stops.
So activity, drivers getting ready down at 888 Johor Racing, including Brock Feeney and Jamie Whincup. There he is, one of the greatest of all time. Nice to have him back behind the wheel. He's very much involved in a management sense of the race team these days, but came back and of course ran at the Bathurst 1000 with Shane Van Gisbergen having a weekend off, and a well-deserved one at that. He's behind the wheel here too, which is terrific. So let's see when those two step back behind the wheel, keeping in mind the additional or the lengthier stop times that Richard's detailed there before, just what they can do with these cars. They revel on the front straight here at the bend, those Mercedes AMGs. Back to Yasser Shahin now. He's been able to get to third while we've been chatting away there. He's down into the 1:49s, kind of mid-49s, but he's been able to clear Abu Bakr Ibrahim there in fourth now.
To be fair to Abu Ibrahim, he's going with him. So less than a second between them. So Yasser got to him quickly, got past, but Ibrahim's been able to run with him since then. So it's a great learning experience. He's never been here before. This is his first visit to the Bend Motorsport Park. Why not follow the guy that helped design it around? Pretty cool. Good way to learn, isn't it? So, and this is important. And the point that Fraser Ross made before, out of these cars in the top four, car 88, currently fourth, has the shortest pit stop time of the lot. So they'll get 10 seconds back, essentially, in the pit stops. It's like not having to pay GST. So they're going to end up in a reasonable position when they plug Jamie Whincup in the car. It's not a bad co-driver to throw in, Rusty.
Pretty handy. Let's go to the lane, Cam.
Thanks. Well, I've actually got Jamie Whincup. They've just been talking about everyone's looking at your car because of the short pit stop. You're going to jump in relatively early and push to the line. I know you don't feel any pressure, J-Dub, but great to be back behind the wheel yet again of a GT.
Yeah, 100%. If you factor in those pit stop times, we're only a couple of seconds off the lead. So, yeah, it's going to be on here. I think the pit stop's going to close everything up, and then we'll race hard till the end. Considering we are the pros and we're in other people's cars, so we've got to keep it clean at the same time.
I saw you at the Grand Prix earlier this year and said, how is team management going? And now I just keep seeing you behind the wheel of a car, mate. So there's a bit of both for you.
I had a good 6 months off, but got the bug again, so I'm putting my hand up to drive everything at the moment.
All right, good luck.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Very good. Now, word is through from race control. Just, I think, in terms of the viewing of the incident at turn 1.
15-second time penalty to car 888. That will be added to their mandatory pit stop time. So car 888 will have an extra 15 seconds stationary. And I confirmed with Ken Collier, the category manager, that is for the contact at turn 1 with Yasser Shahin at the start of the race. So 15 seconds extra. So that makes the work for Brock Feeney even more arduous now. He's got the job to do. And they're going to be a further 15 seconds behind the 8 ball. And the card's just falling the way of the Shannon's Insurance Audi now. that is a massive advantage for them. He's got this margin now to 8.9 seconds. And I wonder, Rusty, if Prince Jeffrey is carrying a little bit of damage, perhaps, from that contact.
Yeah, and just, you know, to extend that story, it's a bit of a well done. It might be, as you rightly point out, just a little bit hamstrung, that Triple Eight Mercedes, but at the same time, well done to Yasser Shahin after what happened at the start, to be back up to third and only 3 seconds behind Prince Jeffrey. Now, that is a great recovery.
Yeah, and this could turn out to be a very good points day for Yasser with a recovery drive. He doesn't need to win this race. Sure, he'll want to, absolutely, but he won't need to, knowing that there's that penalty underway for car 888, and that's going to give them track position once the pit stops are complete, because car number 1, that Audi, will spend less time in pit lane than the Jeffrey Ibrahim and Brock Feeney 888 with Johor Racing entry. So never a non-dramatic moment in the world of GT racing in Australia. It's been a year like it, and you look at it on paper and go, 13 or 14 cars, how good could it be? Well, the answer is really good, because it is so competitive and there's so many good cars, and the sheep station they're playing for is pretty large, as it turns out.
And the season's not done, so we're off to some great venues to come and some good racing to come. And there's various classes here that we should point out too. I mean, Jamie alluded to the professional drivers in GTP, if you will, the likes of, you know, he and Brock Feeney and so on, but there are other classes worth shining a light on here as the Shannon's Insurance entry comes into the lane. Well done, Matt Stupas leading the way, 5th outright. In the GT4 class, Griffith ahead there, down in 12th outright. So here comes the Sheer Gold entry. That's Garth Walden standing by to take over the wheel of that car. These guys with the pulse hitters, they got that $1,000 check from Harold's this morning for getting pole in the AM class. Had a great chat with Garth earlier today. He said Friday was one of his busiest days of the year. I think across all the categories they were doing, it was something like 11 practice sessions, 3 different categories. Our cameras move here to a very busy 888 Johor Racing.
So this is the 15-second penalty for car 888. They can't touch the car. And then when that's complete, they can go to work. So almost everyone in the lane at once. Matt Stupas, the only one who stayed out of the leading group. So 15 seconds done. Now Jeffrey Ibrahim can jump out, and the very similar helmet of young Brock Feeney will jump behind the wheel. Shake of the head there, I think, for the Prince as well as he walked off. So double stacking down there at 888 Race Engineering. So this car originally set to be in pit lane for 102 seconds. It'll end up being 117 seconds when you add the 15 to it.
Sister car sounds like it's leaving in the background or getting ready to, is it?
Yep, so they only had 97 seconds on the clock. Much shorter pit stop time, because both new to the championship with no prior results to them. That's the base pit stop time here. Out comes the GT4 car from Harold's Racing. There's the Lambo with Adrian Dietz and Tony D'Alberto splitting the driving duties today. There's the Sheargold and Walden car. Looking forward to seeing Garth go to work. And then we wait for the leaders, who have all got the lengthiest pit stop time. And then we have to wait a lap or two for the whole race to cleanse itself. So right now, Matt Stupas, the only of the GT3 cars that has not stopped.
Should be good battle in GT4 as well, as we see one of the Audis off the 8 entry.
Michael Kikinos.
He was running second on the road at this stage. I just talking about GT4 for a second. Sam Bradham's taken over the wheel of the 102. Good morning, David Bradham, if you are watching somewhere in England. No doubt goodness knows what time it is over there. And Griffith yet to hand over to Nash Morris. That'll be a good battle worth watching between those two as well.
Yeah, good fight. That, like we touched on at the start, that GT4 battle's been very entertaining. So Brock Feeney's behind the wheel, and he's come out of pit lane 4th of those Pro Class GT cars, the GT3 cars, having come into the lane in 2nd. So that extra pit stop time has really cost them. And this car will be the net race leader when all is said and done. But this will be an enormous task for Fraser Ross, because he will have to go up against Garth Tander. Now, Fraser is a really good racing car driver and a really experienced racing car driver, and he's won Porsche One Make Championships. But how does he go against the 5-time great race winner? Get to find out soon. Let's go back to the lane.
I've got Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim out of the car, 15-second time penalty down at turn 1. How did you see the incident?
Well, to be honest, I was trying to maintain the gap when we started, and the other car just launched. And I was trying to maintain the 75 and 85 kilometers an hour. And then, yeah, I had to catch up, and then I was already in the inside. I thought he was going to give me space, and I tried. I was already on the brakes, and unfortunately, we touched just not how we wanted. But yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. I'll go say hello to you.
Still in the race, though. I did see you come and apologise to the team. You're still there. You're still in the hunt.
Yeah, I know, but this is not ideal. You know, I think I should be doing a better job out there. So yeah, apologies to the team. We did a good qualify, so hopefully we can make it up to it and today, and we'll see how it goes.
Good luck for the rest of the race.
There's a window into how that good young man operates. He has been incredibly committed to this racing program from a fitness point of view, from a learning point of view, and he's been hard on himself as an athlete. He didn't, you know, when he feels in those moments like he's not delivering, I greatly admire the fact that he puts his hand up like that. So well done. Let's see what Brock can do. It's not over yet. We're only at the halfway mark of this race. That's worth noting, and anything can happen in GT competition. So here, as Richard detailed, is your effective race leader. Fraser Ross in the order is currently third. Stupas now to the lane, I think, to do his stop. So he was at the top of the ladder in car 23. I think we're waiting on Perez to come in too, aren't we, Richard? So this is your effective race leader right now, Fraser Ross, and with about 14 seconds, I think, to Garth Tander as well up his sleeve for now.
Yeah, but I think he's got to deal with Whincup first. Yeah, he does. So the double 8 car's been popping up and down the timing order. I think there's a timing glitch there, but so it is actually Whincup in net second once those two guys have completed their stop, and they're in the lane now. Perez rolls the 44 car into the Tagani Rose point. He's very close to that. That's the whole point. So 2.3 seconds is the margin to Jamie Whincup. But my point remains the same. Fraser Ross has got to deal with 7 times supercar champion Jamie Whincup. So it's one or the other. 5-time Bathurst winner Garth Tander or Jamie Whincup. I don't know who you'd rather. So Whincup going out, we'll do a lap time comparison. 49.3 for Fraser Ross, 48.8 for Jamie Whincup. Falls half a second out of the net race leader.
And Tander is lighting up the board too. So he's gone fastest in both sector 1 and 2, and they are the fastest we have seen for this race so far. New fastest lap, Garth Tander, 1:48.45. So the now 5-time Bathurst 1000 winner is hustling.
Feeney goes even quicker, 47.9 in the 888 car. So that answers our question if it's carrying any damage. Nope, it's not. It is properly quick. So this will all concertina up as the race builds to a conclusion. And this is a huge opportunity for Fraser Ross and Liam Talbot to grab a really big result against the cars that have got a dedicated pro driver amongst them.
Let's go to the pit lane. Here's Cam.
I think I'm listening to you guys. I must be listening on the headset because I've got Liam Talbot. Richard Craill just talking about the opportunity in front of yourself and Fraser Ross, but Fraser's got to deal with Jamie Whincup and now Garth Tander. Garth Tander as well. Brock Feeney's in the mix, so that's a fair old company to keep.
Yeah, it's tough out there. There's no easy race wins, and we'll have to fight for it, but every faith is Fraser.
Well, Fraser had his heart in his mouth watching what happened out on track. How were you going in the cockpit?
Well, I saw the turn 1 incident, and there was no way that Mercedes was going to make the corner. So, yeah, a bit unfortunate for Yasser, but that's what it is. And then he just kept blocking every lap, like we had the pace, and then just had the opportunity with the traffic, and then he turned me off track. It was wild.
Actually, while we're doing that, I'll see if I can grab Yasser really quickly. Yasser, if I could grab you. We're just talking about the turn 1 incident. We heard from Prince Jeffrey just before. How was it from your position?
Oh, mate, I had such a gap to second. I thought there was no prospect of somebody taking that chance as a dive bomb. And I still gave him plenty. I saw him coming. I still gave him plenty of room on the inside. But dive bomb seemed to be the way today. And it's not just him. There are a few others that might need investigation. Anyway, we did our best to come back.
Thanks, Yasser.
Cheers.
Short and sharp. Thank you, Cameron. And his co-driver's doing a good job on the comeback trail, though. Garth Tander, he's just set another very quick lap at a 48.0, and he's lapping 1.2 seconds faster than the race leader at the moment, Garth Tander. In fact, he's lapping about a second a lap quicker than Jamie Whincup. So he's got his head down. Ross now the outright leader. Now everyone has completed their stops. So Fraser Ross leading by 2 seconds exactly to Jamie Whincup. Garth Tander is third, 12 seconds behind the race leader, and then it's Brock Feeney in fourth, a further 5.4 seconds behind him, 18 seconds off the lead. That's the top 4. Ross Palakis leads. GT3 AM for Harold's Racing. Valente Rosso in 5th place, and he's got 8 seconds over Matt Stupin. So stopping early has worked very well for the Valente Rosso Heralds racing team.
So Tony D'Alberto, who is doing some great things in the Super Duke Auto TCR Australia Series, has taken the wheel of that Lamborghini. He's down in 9th place at the moment too. So nice to have that car and Tony back a part of this series, which is good. We focus back on the 88, currently in 2nd, Jamie Whincup. That gives you that wide, high shot, gives you an idea of the gap to the race leader. It is under 2 seconds now, Whincup versus Fraser Ross. There's the Lamborghini. Can't miss. It's like a target, isn't it?
It runs that tribute livery to the BASF BMW M1 that used to run in those BMW Pro Car days. I was going to say that in the late 1980s, before my time, Rusty, or yours. But as a motorsport historian, I love it. It's a great livery, though. It looks sensational. And Adrian Yates is a great competitor. Wall Racing run that car, very experienced race team. They had a good crack at the 12-hour this year. Good to see Tony. The thing for mine, at the risk of making a height-related joke around Tony D'Alberto, there's legitimately a significant height difference between the two of them. It must be 1.5 foot. So the seat insert that young Tony must run to get himself into that car would be pretty significant.
Here in the Audi, go back through the gears, the Shannon's Insurance entry. So Fraser Ross, well done, has responded here. Maybe a little traffic coming into play, or perhaps the Audi just enjoying that part of the circuit. He's been able to extend the gap just back above 2 seconds again to 2.29 seconds.
Feeney is flying. Brock Feeney is absolutely flying in car 888. Another fastest lap on lap 16, 147.5. He was 1.1 seconds quicker than Fraser Ross last time round. He's half a second quicker than Garth Tander. So the fastest car on the racetrack is in 4th position on the road. So this is all concertinaing up nicely. If we get a safety car at some point, it is going to be on. But Fraser Ross is doing an awesome job at the moment, fending off any attack from Jamie Whincup and just keeping that margin at a nice, consistent 2 seconds.
Powerful man. You got a phone? You just ring and ask for a safety car? Is this the kind of thing you do?
You'd think maybe Gas would go and see his brother and get something happening there. I'm not suggesting that's how it would work.
So the quickest lap of the race is Brock Feeney. He's just gone fastest in the middle sector, so he's got some pace at the moment and continuing the kind of speed or form that we saw from him in qualifying. The marker to beat is a 147.58. That's just, but it's about Brock trying to shave tenths if he can off Garth Tander and maybe get that car, that 888, back into a top 3 position.
So Fraser Ross 48.7, Jamie Whincup 48.4, Garth Tander 47.7. So the top 3 cars, of the top 3, the guy in 3rd place was the quickest by a second, and then Brock Feeney did a 47.9 with traffic that lap, and that's the first time in a couple he hasn't actually gone quicker. So it's properly fast, and the faster cars aren't the ones in the front of the motor race at the moment. So they're all concertinaing up, and that's what we want to see in these races.
Need to keep an eye on the GTM battle as well. Marcus, as you detailed before, 5th outright, but leading that class at the moment from Matt Stupas. Now, Garth Walden was one of the earlier teams to pit in that class. He's down in 9th, though they should, in theory, find some ground. And Paul Stokel as well, down in 11th at the moment, a guy who's got a lot of experience, having taken the wheel of that KFC entry from Gary Higgins. So let's keep an eye on Paul Stokel on what he can do in the final 21 minutes of this race.
It was cool to hear from Paul earlier today. He was down having a nose around the Renault 3.5, as you do.
Help himself.
Yeah.
Love it.
Triple Australian Drivers Champion. He's such a great bloke. He's one of those if only drivers, really, isn't it, that you wish he'd had that opportunity or the funding to go overseas, because he was as good as any of that crop of drivers that came through Formula Holden in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Agreed. And at the same time, he's gone off and done some things that we perhaps might have expected as well, like Target Tasmania and so on. So, nice. I mean, the net result is, while we pine or wonder about what could have been, at the same time, it's terrific that he's still at the wheel. So, immense talent in that Formula Bradmore or Formula Holden period, a name that was synonymous with it for sure.
And it would be remiss of me as a South Australian to not mention that he drove for Barana Racing, the great South Australian team. This is the battle for the lead we're watching now. The margin 0.6 of a second between Fraser Ross and Jamie Whincup. So they negotiated their way through Nash Morris in the GT4 car, the Mark Griffith-owned entry. And that cost Fraser just a little bit of time. He got to him in an awkward spot. It was nothing Nash was doing. Just got to him at the top of turn 12 there, which is a blind uphill corner. And it's steeper than it looks on television as well. And that just pulled a little bit of margin out of this leading fight. And now Whincup going to work.
Here we go. It's just starting to boil, starting with 19 or under 20 minutes to go in this race now. Whincup might have been out of the seat for the better part of the year, and maybe in a semi-frustrated way, looking on with the headset on in the garage. Came back for Bathurst, partnered with Brock Feeney, and as he said before to Cam Vandendogen, just putting his hand up for anything at the moment, so to drive.
Fraser Ross was very wide at turn 17. The car just did not get to the apex. That hasn't cost him a massive amount. Cup is right there. We know these Mercs are very strong. They've got lots of bottom end front. They punch out of slow corners very well, and they've got good straight line speed. And with that big grille, it must look like Jules is chasing you down as you run up into turn 1.
Cue the music.
There's the KFC car. That's Paul Stokel behind the wheel. He's well out of contention in this one. Now, Garth Tander continuing to go reasonably quickly. He's got the gap to these two down to under 10 seconds, and he would love for them to continue battling like this for as long as they feel like they can, because that will only help the number 1 car get closer. Nothing between it, almost a bump, a touch between them through turn 6. And Feeney, like a metronome, just punching out mid-47s. Back in 4th place, he is so fast. And Rusty, he's 12.4 seconds off the lead. Remember, they had a 15-second penalty added to their pit stop time.
Just underscores why they looked at that man and the kind of things he was doing, not just in race result terms, to ultimately get that huge opportunity to take over from Jamie. Okay, a little bit of lap traffic here. Now, just watching the ebb and flow in this as we go inside the Triple H Johor Racing team, just where Fraser is able to maybe eke out a little bit of an advantage. And I tell you where he's good, which underscores your point before. He carries really good speed through the final corner and onto the straight, and that's because he knows he's nervous about the power that Jaws has coming down the main straight. So
I touched on it before. Fraser is a really good and really experienced racing car driver. As we see some battling down further in the field, that was Tony Alberto picking his way through. Garth Walton, they're in a really good battle. Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge champion Fraser Ross. Is that car number 1?
That's the big car.
It is.
It's Yasser to the lane. Or Garth Tander, I beg your pardon. It's Yasser, the car that he shares with Yasser coming in. What has happened for Garth Tander?
That thing just had a massive rev as it came beneath our commentary box. It almost like it wasn't in gear.
Out again. What has happened there for Garth Tander? We'll get Cam onto that for us, and maybe race control can shed some light on it. I can't immediately see a penalty of any kind on the timing. So you're right about that rev. We could hear it directly below us, and their pit box or garage is not too far from where we are down the length of the pit complex. So back to Fraser Ross, 0.43 of a second over Jamie Whincup. 16.5 minutes remain in this race now. Can Fraser Ross hang on?
I have got to the bottom of this, Rusty. The text message machine has been going off. They copped a penalty, so car number 1 and car number 23, which is Matt Stupas in the KFC Audi, short stopped.
No.
Their pit stop, they did not hit their minimum pit stop time. So it was a stop and go penalty. So that was the rev we heard out our window. That was the stop and then the go in their pit box. Oh, that's a big, big moment. This was potentially a really good points day for Yasser Shahin.
Oh, I'd love to know from Cam what the breach was. How close were they to the marker? And remember, in the wake of Sandown, they did have a little bit of extra time, given the success they had at Sandown, added to the length of their pit stop. So in the eagerness to get on with it, the frustration of what had happened at turn 1 for Yasser, Was there just a momentary jump, and maybe that's all it took? And they do, in this series, they've been very good over time at policing those stops, haven't they?
They have, and the interesting thing is, you go, hang on, don't they just put a stopwatch on it? Well, they do, but the time is from when you cross the line into pit lane to when you cross the control line at the end of pit lane. It's not the time you stopped in the box. Yeah. So you need to work out what the time is from pit entry to pit exit, and then the time that you need to be stationary. So you do need to have a degree in maths to get this right in pit lane, but that's why there's genius engineers like Eric Pender at work down there. But
and why you and I are nowhere near on that.
100%. Got the smoke pouring off the laptop here trying to work it out. But these are the little 1%ers in these races that can change the outcome, and it has changed the outcome. Brock Feeney's now third, and he's flying still, and only 8.7 seconds away from this battle for the lead, by the way. So Fraser Ross, he's not just keeping Jamie Whincup behind, but Brock Feeney catching them at the rate of about a second a lap with 15 minutes to go in the race. So could get to the back of them by the end of this if Fraser Ross is immovable in his race lead.
Well, what are we talking? 8 seconds. So 14 minutes to go. So you're right, that could get quite tasty, that battle, if he's able to keep going on the sort of pace we're currently seeing. Fraser Ross absolutely has his hands full, but this has been a great drive by Fraser Ross, knowing the calibre of the driver behind him and not letting it intimidate him.
They take very different lines through turn 17, and Fraser looks like he was going wide, and I mentioned it before, I thought the thing was understeering, but he just exits the corner a little bit wider, but it does give him a good exit out that final corner, which helps him on the run up here into turn 1. Whincup looming, but has not been able to find a crack in the Fraser Ross armour at this point. The official margin doesn't really matter. It's 0.3, 49.5 for the leader, 49.5 for the car in second. Brock Feeney 47.8 last time round. He's 1.7 seconds a lap faster, and the gap's gone from 8.4 to 7. So Brock Feeney is coming at these two, and there's plenty of time left for him to get to the back of them if this stays as it is.
Different attack through that corner. Wasn't Fraser just running fractionally wide? He got good drive off the turn, but I thought for a moment the eyes went wide. I thought he'd bowled a slight wide. So is all that pressure just starting to come to bear now? Fraser Ross holds the lead from Jamie Whincup. Brock Feeney closing 6.6 seconds. Feeney to Jamie Whincup. We'll see if we can, from this shot, you can just see Brock in the background there now. Same colour scheme, different number. Whincup in the 88, Feeney in the 888. That beautiful dark blue and silver scheme that the 888 Johor Racing team have.
Fraser's best GT success came at the 2020 Bathurst 12 Hour. He was driving McLaren for 59 Racing, and with Martin Kodrick and Dom Story, the young Kiwi, they won the silver class for AM drivers in that race, and they finished 8th outright in that race won by Bentley, and I think that's Fraser's peak moment in his GT career. He won the Sprint Challenge with Porsche, but a win at Mount Panorama is so special. It was such a good drive that day, and he's showing why he did that now, holding off Jamie Whincup as the KFC Audi pulls out of pit lane.
Let's get an update from pit lane. Here's Ken.
Followed that up for you guys. I can tell you that it was only 1 second they missed. They short stopped by 1 second, the one, and the 23 you just saw that pitted, they were disputing the penalty, but they were told if you don't come in, you'll get a black flag. So one way or another, you're stopping.
Cameron Vanderdogen there in the pit lane. We go back to Jamie versus Fraser Ross. It still remains at about half a second between these two. This is a tremendous drive by Fraser Ross in the face of huge pressure, and Brock Feeney, this is working for Feeney. It's down to 5.6 seconds. He continues to close. 11 minutes remain in this race. It could well become a three-way fight in the final few laps.
He's going to get there. At the rate he's closing, he will get there. What a great drive for Feeney. Gee, they rue that 15-second penalty, though, at turn 1. The difference between leading and not at the moment, but the comeback drive has been worth the price of admission to the bend today, as has this measured and controlled drive from Fraser Ross. and being caught up in that dirty air for Jamie Whincup, it's going to be nuking his front tyres, and he's just dropped back to the tune of 6/10 at the moment. Perhaps just to have a little bit of a breath and cool the front tyres off a little bit. Being caught up in that dirty air takes all the aero off the front of the chasing car. So the car wants to understeer, to push right across the corner, which cooks the front tyres. So maybe just a little bit of a breath at this point, and then he can launch another attack.
Battle going on for 6th place too. Tony D'Alberto with that Lamborghini that he shares with Adrian Dietz. I think he's got about 0.6 of a second over Garth Walden. So Walden closing in that Mercedes AMG. He may get to 6th by the end of this race, but well done. Ross Palakis with advantage at the moment, leading the AM class and 5th outright.
And the thing with the pit lane penalties with the timing, I mean, it's black and white, because there's a time, the timer starts the moment you cross the line, and if the timer stops when you cross the exit line and it's short of where you need to be, I mean, it's pretty hard to argue your case, isn't it?
Well, and I'm assuming too that the line of sight and some of that stuff, I mean, the Audi Sport customer racing team are directly beneath us. We are in our commentary box close to pit entry. You know, you're needing to know how close that car is to the pit exit line, aren't you? So crazy close. Nash Morris leading the GT4 class over Sam Brabham. We should point out too, he's been chalking up some good laps, some good numbers along the way. So nice to have him in this class of racing too, and he's had a thoroughly enjoyable weekend so far.
Gee, you'd wish GT4 would kick off a bit here, wouldn't you? It's never really caught on, but they're great little cars, and as an entry point to GT racing, they're a really good thing. They're great for the AM driver to drive. They're not slow. I mean, they're doing 58s here, so they're competitive things.
Richards had a BMW at one point in the stable there, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, so very effective, and the KTM crossbows as well were very competitive. Just, yeah, for whatever reason, hasn't kicked on in this part of the world. Internationally, it's very, very successful. There's an entry point to GT racing. It's great. Right, here's the leaders.
Look at Feeney.
8 minutes to go. 4.4 seconds. He sets the fastest lap of the race again. But Fraser Ross has responded out in front. He has just set his personal best lap of the race. 1 minute 48.24 for Fraser Ross. He is driving out of his skin at the moment, and he is edging away from Jamie Whincup.
This is at a time where everything, you know, half an hour behind the wheel doesn't sound like a lot, but when you've got a 7-time champion behind you, and, you know, everything's starting to wear a little bit from a tyre point of view and so on, and he's just being faultless in response here. As the words you used were driving out of his skin. This is one of his career best drives. Fraser Ross, now Feeney with some fast sectors again. Unbelievable at this stage of the race. He's just gone quickest that we've seen in sector 1. Unbelievable.
This is going to pull a big chunk out of Yasser Shahim's championship lead as well. It was 20 points coming into this race. Fraser Ross and Liam Talbot will get 25 each for this, and right now Garth Tander and Yasser Shahim will get 12. So that's a big swing going the way of the guy in second place. Isn't it set up for a really good championship showdown? We've got the Endurance Championship round at Mount Panorama, a 3-hour race in Bathurst. That's going to be good fun. And then the final round of the championship on the streets of Adelaide, fellow Adelaide 500. How good. What a showdown.
3.7 seconds now. Brock Feeney to Jamie Whincup. We should be able to get... There's Brock right there now, coming through shot for you. So, little surprise, Whincup is trying to get this done. He's trying to get by Fraser Ross. He'll be aware they're in the same stable, but I think he'll be very aware that his teammate has got good pace. He's coming, he's closing, 3.2 seconds now.
He was 1.5 seconds quicker than Fraser Ross last time around. So the gap is 3.1. At this rate, he's there in 2 laps. There's 6 minutes to go. They're doing 1:48, so there's probably 4 laps left in this race. Oh, this is going to be a good finish. And Jamie Whincup, after a couple of laps just dropping off the back of Liam Talbot, has now reattached himself to that big rear wing of the Audi R8 LMS. And has a bit of a look at 6, but there's no room there. It's not quite a Mercedes width up the inside. Fraser gets good drive off the corner.
Whincup's close. He'll want to stay with him here if he can be in a position where he's closer, coming onto the start-finish straight. That may make all the difference. That Mercedes AMG is using all of the track and then some. frustrated Whincup, eyes on, trying to clear Fraser Ross.
Fraser's things moving round 2, had a slide coming out of turn 11. Unlikely to pass here. There's some traffic coming up. How they negotiate that will be important. It's the GT4 car with Sam Brabham. He'll be pretty switched on to this. He'll know that they're coming and will, I'm sure, do his best to get out of the way. But sometimes it's difficult, especially when you get to them at a really twisty bit of road like this. Sam does the right thing. Great driving. Well done, Sam Brabham. Dives out the inside. That weird line for Ross that just works for the Audi down at turn 17. Beatty scything his way through. 2.2 seconds now the margin. 48.1 for Brock Feeney last time around. Plays a 49.7 for the race leader. 4.5 minutes to go. Feeney is 1.8 seconds behind this leading battle.
How do you play this at Triple Eight? How do you play this? Do you release Brock so we can have a crack at Fraser Ross here? I mean, if you've got 2 Triple Eight Johor Racing Mercedes, what did you call them? Jaws before, Jaws times 2, coming at this Audi with 4 minutes to go. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
This is the moment. It's got to be turn 6 for Whincup. It is turn 6 for Whincup. He gets it down the inside, but if Fraser can hold on, he's got the right position to be in for the right-hander at turn 7. He does hold on. Fraser Ross has got every answer at the moment.
What a cracking motor race this is. If you've just joined us live here on 7+, this is the Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS, one of the greats of all time, keeping pressure on Fraser Ross, and it is now a 3-way battle with 3.5 minutes remaining. Enter the fray, Brock Feeney.
What a great race. Here goes Whincup up the hill. There's no room there. Fraser starting to look a little bit ragged in the Shannon's car. What do they do about Feeney? Because he's come at them like a freight train, and now he's going to be bottled up behind his teammate.
If Ross can resist all this pressure, this is immense. Absolutely immense. I would have thought in the Triple Eight bunker, they would have anticipated clearing Fraser Ross quite some time ago. He has put up a fight they perhaps did not expect. He carries good speed, I think, onto the straight again in the background. Maybe gets a half a car length, tries a bit of space, tries to hold off Jaws a little bit longer as they run down to 1. Jaws times 2.
Oh, I'm sorry if Mercedes AMG generally don't like that nickname, but it's there now.
It is a bit like that, isn't it?
2 minutes and 40 seconds to go. An Audi fending off the 2 Triple Eight Race Engineering Johor Motor Racing AMG GT3s, as has been the story all season long in GT racing in this part of the world. And Fraser Ross has been superb. There's got to be 2 laps to go in this. 2 minutes and 16 seconds to go in the race.
I can't immediately think where Jamie can get by him. He perhaps just needs to be, if he can, a fraction closer coming onto the front straight. But Fraser seems to send it through there, through that final corner. That Audi carries a lot more speed.
It's turn 6 for mine, and we saw Whincup have to go, but the Audi just on corner exit gets good drive off the corner, and if you can stay alongside on the exit of 6 on the outside of that corner, it gives you the inside line for turn 7. So plunging down the hill, which in that ever-increasingly quick sequence of right-hand corners, you've got the right side of the road to be on, both literally and metaphorically. So he's done everything right in this race right now. It's going to take a very big move from Jamie Whincup to get by. Feeney's just dropped off slightly of this. I think he's just gone, I'm going to sit back a little bit and watch what happens here. It could be in the perfect position to capitalise if this fight becomes more of a war at any point. There's 1 minute and 10 to go. This should be the final lap of the race. 4.9 kilometres of the Band Motorsport Park to go. He didn't get off the final corner well that time, Fraser Ross. Here goes the move from Whincup at turn 1. It's a big, big move. And it's a big, big move by a big driver. He gets it done. But Fraser's possibly got a shot down the inside at 3. There's no room. Whincup shuts the door. The Triple Eight car goes through. Now what about Feeney? who's charged his way up in car 88. Ross defends. You touched on it, Rusty. It's all that final corner. And the one time in the race he didn't get off it well is the one time it's cost him. And it was at the start of the final lap of this race. With a big move down at turn 1, Jamie Whincup gets the lead away.
What a race.
Oh, great.
Amazing race.
We should see the checkered flag this time by. The clock has ticked down after 1 hour of really intense GT3 racing. So it is car 888 in front.
The timing on us had a glitch, Richard. I've been just keeping an eye on this. Somewhere Brock's been able to clear that. The timing on it has had a little bit of a glitch, so I'm not sure where that has happened, but this is going to go to Feeney by the looks of it, and he has come like a freight train. We're just double-checking the little numbers on the side of the cars. Feeney to take this one from Fraser Ross with Whincup home in third. What a start to the weekend in the Fanatec GT World Challenge Australia.
Well, you have a word about timing, but anyway, what a drive. Well done, Brock Feeney and Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim. What a comeback drive that is to make up for a 15-second time penalty. Was there a switch between those cars at some point?
Well, we may not have caught it with our cameras, so apologies if that's the case, folks. And the timing has been having a little bit of a hissy fit up here at times, and in terms of the update. But there's the congratulations, Roland Dane in there, Prince Abu Ibrahim and Prince Jeffrey as well. Brock Feeney with a mighty drive. And after all that unfolded at the commencement of the race, the penalty that was added, the laps that he chalked up, and Tander has been able to get, despite being shy by 1 second when he left the lane at the conclusion of the official stops, he's been able to get the fastest lap of the race with a 1:47.23, but will ultimately, in the car he shares with Yasser Shahin, finish in 4th position. So Prince Jeffrey and Brock Feeney, those cars with identical liveries, and we may not have, I think, just seen the pivotal moment, because there was other battles going on, Richard, that we were focused on. And there is the young Prince, who finds himself in the top 3 with this team at the bend. Nice start for the Ibrahim family, for him joining his brother, who's been a part of this in recent time. The Queen's here this weekend too, Richard, which is amazing. So, so Tander finishes 4th. Brock Feeney, that's a superb performance, and I think one we'll reflect on for a little while. That was a great drive.
Oh, yeah, totally. And even though Fraser gave it up at the end, there was a huge performance from that guy from Victoria. So he's not a professional racing car driver. He works full-time in marketing for the family firm, the Ross Partnership there in Melbourne. So he does this because he does it because he enjoys it and loves it, and he's mates with Liam and they want to go racing. He's very serious about it. He trains, he works hard on it, but he's not a professional racing car driver. He's not a full-time supercar driver like Brock Feeney or Garth Tander or Jamie Whincup. So it's an enormous drive to achieve that.
Arguably one of his best, mate. I mean, under all that pressure, that's a very, very memorable day out for Fraser Ross. Yes, it's not a race win, and he went oh so close to it, but he held them off for quite some time, and I don't think that organisation there would have expected him to hold out that long. There's your winners. Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim comes out to congratulate Brock Feeney. A fight-back drive from Brock Feeney after a penalty. I can see Cam Vanenduggen standing there in the midst of all the celebrations. Why don't we take you down there now, Cam? Great
Thank you very much, Rusty. I'm just going to jump in with our drivers. Firstly, just straight out of the car, Brock Feeney, congratulations. And I'll grab you, Prince Jeffrey, as well to come in here, because you were apologetic when you got out of the car. We discussed how you were still in it, and this driver here brought home the win for the team. You both got that done.
Yeah, far out. I didn't think I was going to have to work that hard today, but no, that was awesome. I didn't think we were going to get there at the end, but far out, that was hectic. You know, I got to run on Fraser onto the straight, and he was blocking pretty hard, but yeah, I tried to
getting back and just snuck down the inside. Nearly snapped the brake pedal off the thing. I was pushing that hard, but no, this man's doing a great job this weekend. Obviously a bit unfortunate at the start with the contact, but yeah, we'll come back swinging tomorrow.
Well, I'll grab Prince Jeffrey. You had to get the job done. You had to hand the car over in a good position. You did your bit in that. You must be very proud of the team effort.
Yeah, of course, I'm really proud of the team effort. They gave us a great car, and even the other guys, we've been working together well all weekend. And yeah, again, a bit unfortunate at the start, but this man really saved our lives, and he's been driving great all weekend. And yeah, hopefully we can have another good one tomorrow.
We've got another big day tomorrow. Come back, Brock. It's been a wonderful rise in your career. You must really be enjoying the GT part of your racing.
Yeah, I'm loving life. I'm just thankful these guys had me back. I raced here last year and did the 12-hour, but yeah, to jump in this weekend and start it off with a victory is pretty cool. But as I said over the radio, it's been a long time since I've had a win, so it's good to get another one, and yeah, hopefully we can have another one tomorrow.
And Prince Jeffrey, last question before we do start to finish up today. Another day tomorrow. What is it you're going to work on overnight? What are you going to bring to the table?
Well, of course, try to be cleaner, I think. That's what I try to do anyway. I mean, that's not the intention, but that's not how we operate in Triple Eight. Yeah, I just got to work on my stuff and then be quicker, I guess.
Well, be quicker. You were number one at the end of that one, so congratulations to you both.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, thanks to Cam Vandenungen down there with the winners. So there was a late change, double eight. Let Triple Eight through, we understand, and we also understand now that Triple Eight need to add some fluoro to one of those cars so we can tell them apart, because it was unseen by us. A little timing glitch as well wasn't helping the cause, but regardless, what a sensational drive, what a fantastic battle that was. Great show, GT racing between those guys, and Brock Feeney should be very, very proud of that, but so too Fraser Ross for his drive through the field. We're going to wrap the day up shortly with Rusty and Cam in the lane.